Okay. So, luckily we don't have a ton of stuff to do today. But one of the things we need to do is learn how to put this stuff in our calculator because we're going to be solving problems. So, let's suppose you want to find the tangent of 18 degrees. Well, what did you get here? That is not hard. You know how to do that, right? You press tangent 18. But here's what I need you to be careful of. I want you to go to mode first. Mode. Top row. Mode. And make sure, if you're putting in 18 degrees, make sure degrees is highlighted. Do you see what I mean? The calculator could be set in radians. And if it's set in radians, and you type tan 18, you are going to get the wrong answer. So my big caution for you is, before you start putting in angles, make sure you're in the right mode. There will be times we'll want to be in radians, but this is a degree. So I'm going to highlight degrees and type tangent 18. Did you get 0.3249? Easy. What if we said cosine 153 degrees 14 minutes? Could you put that in? Yep, we practiced it on the quiz. Right? Well, so what's that number? What do you get when you put that in? Somebody tell me. Negative 0.293. Anybody match that? How about this? Now be careful. There's something missing in that picture. When there is no mark, it's a radian measure. If there is no mark, it's a radian. Now, little disclaimer. Sometimes I get in a hurry. If you see this, ask me, because chances are 30 means degrees. Remember, a full revolution is 2 pi radians. That's 6.28. So if that were a radian measure, that would be 5 spins. You see what I mean? So if this is a big number and I have failed to mark it, ask. Because chances are I just got lazy. Here, it isn't marked. It isn't marked on purpose. That's a radian measure. So we need to put our calculator in radians. Everybody knows how to do that. And then we type sine 2. 0.909.
Good. Put that.
Now, there will be times where you will want to do a, let's say, cotangent. Right, I'm back in degrees. Cotangent. You paid $100 for this calculator, and there's no cotangent button. Any ideas, Trevor? No. That button, this button, means something entirely different. That does not mean cotangent. I understand why you would think that, but it doesn't. So do not ever use that button for a cotangent. What's cotangent by definition? Reciprocal of tangent. So if I want the cotangent, I have to physically type 1 divided by tangent 58. If you want a cotangent, you're going to type in, make sure you're in degrees, you're going to type in 1 divided by tan 58. So the cotangent is 0.6249. And likewise, if you want the secant of 118 degrees, 11 minutes, and 12 seconds, the only way to put a secant into your calculator is to put it in as its definition. And what is the definition of the secant? 1 divided by cosine. Did you get negative 2.117?
Yep.
Right, so you feel like you're okay putting stuff into your calculator. Alright, so here's the kind of problems where we need to do that. Let's suppose we have a right triangle, and we know that this angle is 62 degrees, and this side is 12, and we want to know that side. With regard to the angle that you know, and I know you can figure this one out. We could do that, but why? Let's just use the one we know. With regard to that angle, which side is this? Opposite. And which side is this? So I could write an equation using which function? Opposite and hypotenuse, that would be sine. And I could say the sine of 62 equals what? 12 over x. So x sine 62 equals 12. I multiply the x over here. And then x ends up equaling 12 divided by the sine of 62. So this is why we need to be able to type stuff in on our calculator, because we have to do that. 12 divided by sine 62, make sure I'm in degrees, I am. You get 13.59. What about this one? So the question mark this time is the angle.
We have the opposite of adjacent.
So that means our equation is going to involve tangent. So tan theta equals 17 over 15. Now remember that button you wanted to press a while ago, Trevor?
Negative 1.
Yeah, remember that? That is the button you press now. If you are looking for an angle, that's the button that you press. So if your job is to find an angle, over here we already had the angle. So over here, we use regular sine. If you are looking for the angle, you use the inverse function. So in this case, tangent. So if you press second tangent, 17 divided by 15, it tells you that the measure of this angle is 48.58 degrees. If the direction said round to the nearest minute, then you would go into your angle menu, click down to DMS, and it would be 48 degrees, 35 minutes. Let's talk about that, make sure everybody's clear on that. Why did I round that to 48:35? Can somebody tell me? Exactly. There's 60 seconds in a minute. If I have more than 30, I got more than half, right? So that's why I got rounded up. All right. Now you try a couple. These are not hard. Type that in on your calculator. answer to number 1. Well, this part will be up before 3, which is tomorrow's lesson. Let's run through the answers to these. No, the ones on the board, and then one more thing to look at, and then we'll look at what did you get as answers? I looked at that too. What'd you get for the first one? 3.204, something in that vicinity. What'd you get for the second one? 11.7. And what'd you get for the third one? 48.59.
We do this.
What was the first one?
This one would say cosine 52 equals x over 19. So you're just going to take 19 times the cosine of 52. That's going to give you your answer. Here you're going to say sine theta equals 9/12. So theta is the angle whose sine is 9/12.
Because it's opposite over.
Now,
So because
let's take this problem right here. And let's take your calculator away. And let's suppose I said this. Now, we've talked about when you see that notation, it means you're looking for the angle. So I am looking for the angle whose cosine is 1/2. Now, having done a couple of these, does that make sense to you? Now, I've taken away your calculator though. But you should recognize, oh look, if I have a 1 and a 2, this must be a √3. And across from the √3 is 60. So the answer to the question is 60 degrees. And sure enough, if you type that in on your calculator, it would say 60 degrees. Let's try another one. They were looking for an angle. And what do I know about this angle? What do I know about this angle? Its tangent is 1. So opposite over adjacent, I'd have a 1 and a 1 here. Tangent, opposite over adjacent. So what's that going to be? Do you recognize that triangle? This angle is 45 degrees, so the answer is 45. Now, kids, if you're going to do this without a calculator, the triangle you draw has to be 1, 1, root 2, or 1, 2, root 3, right? It has to be. Those are the only ones we have memorized. All right, let's try one more. No calculator. So we recognize this means we're finding an angle. The answer is going to be an angle. And what do I know about that angle? Opposite over hypotenuse is root 3 over 2. Which means that's a 1. And that angle is 60 degrees. Now I do have one caution for you. Sometimes you'll see this. Understand that root 2 over 2 is the rationalized version of 1 over root 2. If I rationalize this, I would get root 2 over 2. But in terms of your triangle, it might be easier for you to think of it like this. Because otherwise what's going to happen is you're going to draw it, and you're going to say, wait a minute, I don't have any triangle that has a root 2 over 2. Well, you don't. Your triangle has a 1 and a root 2. But they're the same. It's just easier to think of it in this form. So when you see root 2 over 2, remember that's the same as 1 over root 2. Okay? All right. You should have enough to get going. Let's look at the quiz real quick. There are 2 versions of it out there, so you'll need to tell me which version you're looking at. There's 1 or 2. And let's go over it. So, did anybody have a question about the quiz? Trevor? Quiz number 2, number 6. It says, draw a course of 211 degrees. A course, that's navigational. So if I'm going to draw a navigational course of 211 degrees, where do I start?
Right.
If it's navigation, it starts up here. This is 0. This is 90, this is 180, this is 270. I know it's confusing. I can't help it. I mean, it's just the way it is. That's how somebody set it up. So we start up here, and 211 looks like this. That would be a course of 211 degrees. Mahela?
For the quiz 1, it was negative 100 degrees, so what we got?
Okay, now quiz 1 though didn't say draw a course. Quiz 1 said draw an angle. When we draw an angle, we start here. So negative 100 would look like this. Negative goes down, and 100 would be just past the first quadrant there.
If that was a positive, we would go the other way.
Yep.
Okay. Will you always use the word course?
Well, chances are it's going to be in a problem that's talking about an airplane flying on a heading or something.
But if we don't see the word angle?
If it's an application of somebody flying or sailing or something, yes, you're going to use this. Bailey? quiz 2, number 4. You said number 4? Yeah. You just type 89.57 and then go into second angle and DMS. You do want to make sure you're in degrees. So 89.57, second angle, then DMS. It's 89.34.12. Sarah?
Was number 3 on number 2, like quiz number 2? 100.
Quiz number 2. Yes. I'll have to talk to you.
Yeah, I was gonna say, okay,
Yeah, because you were using the calculator on page 1.
I only used it.
It doesn't matter.
Okay, so
So I have to take off
Okay.
the extra evidence. Okay. Anything else? Okay then. You've got a homework assignments, pretty short, I think, shouldn't be too bad. Go to it. We need to have one more quiz. What works better for you, Thursday or Friday? Does it matter?